Bustlinger, and also good luck to me out wide. Good luck to me out wide. The inside, Boomtown Boss. Boomtown Boss, and good luck to me. Boomtown Boss in front near the line, and Boomtown Boss has won by a long neck on the line.
Welcome to Bet Doctor Brisvegas edition. I'm your host, Scoot, and I'm joined in studio with John Walter. How are you, big fella?
Why is it called Brisvegas?
Because it's Brisbane racing.
Oh, okay, racing. Not that we're in Brisbane. We're not selling a charade that we're not.
We're in Gold Coast.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're allowed to be open about that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's all right.
Where's Donnie now? Is he still here? Has he moved to Papua New Guinea yet?
Where are you, Donnie?
Mate, I'm in the lovely Nobbies Beach, the best place in Australia. I can't wait for the weekend. But 2 up tomorrow. There's a couple of race weddings tomorrow, isn't there, Walt? And a few more on Saturday. It's a punting bonanza. Can't wait.
Fancy that. Donnie into the 2 up.
Even money.
Hey?
Even money. No good for no one to DK. He doesn't like Anzac Day. He likes it shorter than evens, doesn't he? Not a big even money man.
Oh, gee, I don't know what they're going to do because there's so much rain around. I think we've got 30 mil today at the Gold Coast and Brisbane, and then the same again Friday. But thankfully Saturday's all clear. But the weather in Sydney, all of a sudden there's 15 mil pop up on Randwick's radar, which is a beautiful thing.
Race day, beautiful.
Yeah. And then we've got Adelaide. So Nico's going to come out of the abyss and have a look at the couple of features there in SA. So that'll be good. Big thanks to Punting Form and Racing Queensland for getting the show on the road. GK's on holiday, so a bit of bulla job for him. He's in Fiji in the Speedos.
He's a man and by heart, mate. 1 week, one holiday. He checks out after 1 week, goes straight on holiday.
He's a bit like John McLeod.
only the 5 or 6 meetings, black type meetings. They're beautiful. He's the best.
Too good. No, but Donnie, we found all your bowlers on YouTube. You had about 6 people say, "Where's Donnie?" So you've got yourself onto the show.
Yeah, I just set up a few accounts myself, but yeah, managed to get back on off the bench. Can't believe I was dropped first week, but I'm a good impact player, so I'll do a good job this week. You won't be able to drop me next week.
Donnie, let's talk about a couple of winners. We tipped them up on the show, and you can tell us a bit about them as well, because obviously you're an avid punter and follower of the Queensland Racing. Boomtown Boss, Navy Pilot.
Both gun horses. They were great bets on the weekend.
I bumped into you down at what are you going to say?
I thought it was just an extraordinary summary. Both gun horses, great bets. Yeah, beautiful.
Flirt 'em on was the sick beat of the week last week, but I thought Nepotism was maybe 2-year-old performance of the
Yeah, they only went
season?
out 10 above and come home 10 below, so it was the most flattered performance of the year, but it was good of you to chime into the biggest green light suck run in the history of racing. No,
it was pretty hard to do.
He basically got off it and said, I gave it none. My instructions were horrific. I couldn't believe what they told me to do, and then I couldn't even do what they told me to do, so they told him to come under him or something, then he had to come around him. And it was a bit of an act of God win, wasn't it? But, yeah, I don't know. The 2-year-olds, were there any good performances? Like it was, I don't know. It may be, we've had some good 2-year-old years the last couple where it looked like there'd be 3-year-olds come out and progress, and they haven't. So maybe this average lot will jump out of the ground.
So you're not in the queue to take the $15 Nepotism Cox plate?
To nominate or yeah. Oh well, at least you know it'll be last in the run. That's the only thing I'd be happy to take odds about.
I did have a giggle with Wayne Hawkes coming out and saying that Briasa welcomes the challenge of Kaying Rising to come towards the Everest and saying, get your big boy pants on and come over from Hong Kong. Like, this is the camp that won't even travel a horse interstate, nor put a horse into the race, and he's calling out the Hazyard.
And the only reason Briasa's been put in the race its last 2 is because it drew 4, I think. And the other day he probably did the opposite. He jammed it out the gates when he didn't need to. But they're a funny crew. It's just they've got. I always, default to that. Someone never puts the stats up who's the spend they have to winners in the city produced, and they're always last. And then they come out and say, "Oh, we're just stallion makers," and I don't know. Maybe if that's their thing, that's their thing. You can't knock them, and they're worth stupid money, aren't they? So maybe they do get a return that way, but they cost themselves so many, or don't even try to win so many races on the journey. They're a tricky camp.
Bit of a head scratcher. And I saw you tweet out a replay of the Jimmy Star Thread the Needle Ethan Brown or Ethan Clown ride. Is that as good as a public apology to Ethan, or do you want to do it now?
I'd never heard of him. I wanted you to. I was just geeing you up when I said Ethan Clown because we've got to have some personality in this show. And between basically I've got to sort of compensate. And he did a good job. What's that, 6 or 7 Group 1s? Obviously,
his horse.
I wasn't up with that. I missed the boat there for sure, but. Yeah, he was definitely the difference there. A lot of riders would have not taken the gap. And, it's easy to say after the race when horses shift off or stow to the inside, all this, that's absolute garbage. He made his own luck there and, had the right horse under him, but did need a bit of help. And it was the difference in the end. But he deserves he's the one that's dangerous. He'll get an Everest slot if he wants it. And if he sort of lobs there first up, he's the real deal. Randwick sort of specialist sort of horse, isn't he?
Beautiful. Only took you a couple of weeks to come around, but you're finally seeing it the way I see it. Let's get on with the rest of the show. We've got Eagle Farm. We're going to have a look at 3, 5, 6, 7, 8. I've left the lucky last out because it's a bit smelly, and I think the lucky last for everyone will be the Quokka. And I think Overpass for Mighty Bjorn will be shipped.
He's always even money on Wednesday, and then I think we got $4 one time. I think it was nearly $4.50 or $5 something last time. I don't think he'd be getting there this time, but. Yeah, I did laugh. I did another little retweet, old Simon Miller. The what would he say? It was something like the road to dethrone Bjorn or something. Or I laughed that they're not even. They're all out after him. But Timmy's gone over to ride that horse for Simon Miller. So Timmy versus Josh would be interesting. I'd love Timmy to get over the top of him.
Do you reckon front page can overturn Overpass, Donny? You love the sprinters.
I haven't had a look, to be honest, but I doubt at least it's going to put some pace in the race and it won't be a one-act affair, but I haven't had a look at the race.
I thought he'd have to come off his rating pretty significantly, and just like the fact that they've been there, done it, travelled, so there'll be just a carbon copy job, I would have thought, in the Quokka, and good luck for bookies. I'm not surprised they're not poking their neck out because every multi's going to land or end in
Schiller
Overpass.
The Thriller's gone to ride front page. It's drawn directly outside Overpass. It's probably the worst. If it drew the other way, that would be ideal for Overpass. It actually does add a bit of another dimension, and Timmy's drawn right under him. It'll be a good race.
Beautiful. So we're going to cover most of the Eagle Farm features, and then we've got Walt's Best at Randwick. He's found one, and then, as I said, Nico with the SA Oaks and the Sangster. Puntingform.com.au is how I do the form, and you can tiptoe into any jurisdiction and do it with ease and with a fair bit of speed too, and they've got a black book system, so I absolutely love it. Eagle Farm is the first one we're going to have a look at. We've got up to 60 mil to hit today and tomorrow. And then the rail +5. Donny, fence still off, or they're starting to get to the decent ground out there, but you still think they're going to get away from it?
Yeah, I think the more rain that comes, the further they'll get away from the fence and it might chop up. But this rail position, the 5 metres, it can be a bit more an advantage to sit on the speed and sit on the rails throughout. So we'll have to see how much rain falls. The prediction's a bit hard to get a gauge of tomorrow. They're predicting 1 to 30. Which is like Walt tipping Treasure at the moment. He's not really having a crack. So I wish they would have a real lean in and have a dig instead of just sitting on the fence. But yeah, I'll have to wait and see. But it could be a bit more advantageous to sit closer to the speed in the rails this week than previous.
Yeah, and I think they just got a little bit lucky here racing Queensland as well. So they had Doomben yesterday, and now it needs desperate
the
rest.
The latest is 30 today, 32 tomorrow.
Yeah.
Doomben.
Yeah, I've done all my form for sort of heavy 8, 9, 10. And as I was just saying, lucky that Doomben's got the spell. I think Doomben is now off until the 17th of March, and Eagle Farm's in much better nick and can cop the rain. So hopefully we can get through the next couple of weeks with a bit of confidence. And let's crack into race 3 here, which is a big field with a couple of emergencies. And one of those emergencies is Antonito at $6.50, Shehab $7, Tab $7.50, Quothquan $7.50, Skyforger $11, Daytona $11, Scud $12, Bow Rumble $13, and Centerstone $13. Gets a bit of a tail about it, this field, with Skeletrix 14, Naval Trader $17, and then you got Cadetship at 20 with Ocean Alps around that price, Pizarro a bit of a nonny, and then Chajaki at 31, and much better the rest. 2 horses that I've signalled here, or I like the look of in the race at the moment, that do like a wet track. The first one's Daytona, and you can see him with the green and the gold sort of stripes. He's got the big blaze on his face, and this is a nice third up performance, and I just think him getting off and away from the heels there and sort of checking away cost him a couple of lengths here, and I think he just comes right into it on the heavy track, and I just love the way he still finds a line and that form is pretty strong with Master Showman winning that race. The other horse that I really like here, and you'll know some of this form, Walt, Skyforge is the horse that's an absolute duck for the Webster yard, and it's out in front and leading, and the horse that sort of runs it down here is Queen Air, and at the time, this is a 1,600 metre race, but Queen Air was absolutely flying, and she loves the wet track as well, so it's a bit of a drop back in class for a Skyforger, and it was a runaway winner. I think it won the country championship Queensland edition by about 6 lengths on a wet track. So I've just tried to find one up the front in Skyforger at around the $12 mark or $12 or $11 mark, and then Daytona's sort of my closer, who 1,400 metres is probably out of limit, but given it's a heavy track, I think that'll be to his advantage. But what do you think of the race, Sonny?
I liked the reserve, Antonito. I think it doesn't have a jockey now, but Tabs has got Noel Calaway booked, and if it's wet, it'll probably scratch, and Noel will jump on Antonito. He's ridden it this past 2 starts. It's by Sacred Falls, so it loves the wet track, and just it's all click for this horse. Last start, it was so dominant on a wet Doomben track. It led at a decent tempo and scooted right away, running some okay late sectionals. And the start before that was quite similar. It's going to roll across from the outside barrier and sit handy to the speed, or if not lead, and it'll be tremendously hard to catch. I think it's a great each way bet if they choose to run here and Noel jumps on.
Yeah, I was just a little bit worried from a class perspective. Yeah, I tend to agree. It's a horse on an upward spiral, but some of these are sort of bringing open grade form, and this horse has got to make a fair leap. And that's the other question. Noel Callow, 56.5. How light can he ride?
Yeah, I'm not too sure. I think it's around that 56, 57 mark. I haven't had a good look at it, but his stats, especially in the Metropolitan races the last 2 years, are off the charts. He's clearly the best jockey in the Brisbane riding ranks that the market doesn't click onto. So he's a jockey I always go looking for.
He'll just jam the aircon up in the Uber on the way there when he's driving someone and lose the extra half.
Yeah.
Once again, you've given me a nice rundown of races to look at Eagle Farm, and race 3 wasn't on it. You're a good man.
Bit of a surprise back at B. I thought Tabs are definitely scratching. It's a different horse on top of the ground, so a bit unlucky for those connections. But yeah, Antonito is definitely going to be up there with Skyford, just sort of giving it curry. But yeah, I was going to wait till it sort of gets in the field before I could entertain a saving bet on that. But be interesting to see how he handles a step up in grade. But I think they're the 3 best options in the race for sure.
Scalextrics. It's a good win the other day. Wasn't entitled to win at all. Lifted to beat Moral Jude or whatever. It would have traded like $1.04. It's a very interesting. I agree with Donnie. I was happy to back Antonito in that group race the other day it came out of. So I think it's got heaps of upside. I haven't deep dived into the race as I sort of just mentioned, but Scalextrics is ready to go on with it from Sydney. Loves the wet, and yeah, I like if your man Callow, who is a genius when he wants to be, does jump on that horse from the wide draw, to be absolutely ideal.
Yeah, so make sure you have a good look at the track, how it plays for the first couple of races, and then the track conditions is going to be imperative. A massive difference when it's soft 6, soft 7, and then once you sort of get down to the heavy 8s, 9s, and 10s, because certain horses just can't get through it. Let's have a look at race 5. It's the Calaway Gal. It's a 2-year-old race over 1,200 metres, and yeah, this will be interesting to see who gets through this as well. High Barbie's $3.30, Headbanger $4, Halfpenny Hatch $5, Listen Sweetheart $5.50, Dragon Rouge $10, Carbonara $13, Sweet Pretender $19, Isti Star $21, and then much better the rest. Starting point here has to be High Barbie. This is her in the white and the green, back buried the fence. She's a big leggy thing. She won on debut on a heavy track early in her career on debut, and I just wasn't convinced. I just didn't know whether it was greenness or her not getting through the track, but you can see her just still sort of swerving all over the place like a drunken sailor, but she still hits the line really well, goes past Cool Archie there late, who's in the green on the outside, and this is another interesting horse, I thought, who's bred to absolutely swim, is Carbonara. They backed it for a stack on debut, and I think it missed the kick. It's in the Rob Heathcote colours, and there's Cool Archie on its outside, and I thought it was a pretty smart trial here, and she might be sort of back on track, but still very green and needs to improve significantly. But at $13, I thought it was a bit of a knockout runner, and Cool Archie's come out and gone pretty good since, and he was in that 2-year-old Magic Millions race. Walt, this is the interesting debutant from Sydney. Listen, Sweetheart. What do you think about this trial?
Yeah, first one was pretty quiet, then they whacked the blinkers on. Is it
Yeah.
Yeah, and they whacked the blinkers on, and it certainly improves it. It looked really strong through the line. So, yeah, it's a typical sort of John Sargent. His stable's going pretty well too. And interesting, he's put a rider on it, which is exciting. So, yeah, it's a horse that adds a bit of another dimension to the race, drawn the middle, whereas all the other leaders are drawn low.
Yeah, when you have a look at that, Listen, Sweetheart, and have a think about the horse, do you think is this just a pipe opener for further? Is she going to be like a JJ Atkins filly? Or
Well, you'd think 1,200 first up, it and High Barbie, they're probably both looking at that sort of race, aren't they? Like this is their kickoff point. And he loves getting them out in distance. Blinkers on first start. Obviously, it did trial up a lot better with the blinkers, so maybe he thinks it needs that, and we'll be looking for further. I think it'll be ready to go for 1,200. Obviously, the heavy track first up's nightmare, and like I actually don't have much to add to this race, so I'll just sort of say they're High Barbie Gate 1, Halfpenny Gate 3, and Headbanger 2, so they're all drawn low, and if that's the swampy sort of territory, I don't think they have enough on the field to be dominant, so I'd be looking for your Carbonaras and Listen Sweetheart's perfectly. I think like Halfpenny Hatch has gone 12-14 back to 12, looks pretty one-paced, like it doesn't look, it's found the right races, I would say, first and second up, and Headbanger sort of was comfortably beaten, even though that form's probably okay for this. And if it, it's just a bit of a smelly race to me. I didn't really have a good opinion.
Donnie, for some clarity?
Nah, not really. It's just to see how the track playing. Obviously, High Barbie seems the best horse in the race, but Gollan's come out and said that he wants to ride it quiet and get it ready for the Atkins. So I'm not sure how positive they're going to be out of the gates, which could rule it out if the inside chops up. I think Dragon Rogue's probably the best local horse. It's got a nice setup going, 1,000, 1,100, now to 1,200, both two starts. It's won on wet tracks. It was pretty strong late last start against an average field, but it's probably the lurker that's fit. And we'll get to the right part of the track if they're coming down the middle. So if I was forced to have a bet now, it'd be Dragon Road each way, but I'm not super keen.
Listen, Sweetheart trial. You obviously got a keen eye for a trial.
Yeah, I thought it was okay. I didn't really like the late section of the trial. I think the horse that ran second, Inquisitor, from the Waller camp, it's the one, if you see it pop up in the next few weeks or heads towards the Atkins, I think that's the horse. But I'm not super impressed by it, but I couldn't rule it out.
All right, might be a team lay on High Barbie, and interesting comments coming from Tony Gollan. Usually he's pretty spot on, probably ride real quiet, and yeah, I just have that reservation off that heavy track, and if you want to go deep in your replays, you can go have a look at her on debut, and just legs everywhere, and didn't look like a horse that would appreciate heavy, so the wetter it gets, the more I'll be risking High Barbie. Let's have a look at race number 6, and this is a tricky one. This is the Mick Dittman 1,000-metre listed plate, and Seascape is the new favourite here at $4.80. Cosmic Fire, $5.50. Zoo Baby, $5.50. Hella Fast, $6.50. Spicy Martini, I think this is one of your horses, Donnie, tipped up at a good price, $7.50. Benzu, $8.50. Hearts Are Better, good last start winner at $8.50. And then you got Couples Retreat, $12. 21 Pride to Follow, and much, much better the rest. The first one we're going to have a look at here is Cosmic Fire, and I thought the return of Cosmic Fire here was terrific. Just a great trial here, and I think you got the inflictor to its outside, but this horse got beaten by Arabian Summer in that Gold Coast race against Arabian Summer, that big plate. Over the 1,000 metres, and the start before was a pretty raw and green winner over 1,000 on the heavy 8 at Sunshine Coast. So this is a horse that gets through the ground, and he was super on debut, and then sort of the only real big failure that he's had was behind Broadsiding and the size Produce. But I think he's just raw, and I think the market sort of underestimates his horse, and importantly, he's going to be drawn off the fence in barrier 11. He's going to be up and on speed. Great trial, and we'll get through the ground in no doubt. And the other horse we're going to have a look at here is Zoo Baby, and here's its trial, and it's in the navy or the blue with the lighter blue up top and the white hat. So there's a few with similar colours here. But Donnie, I didn't like the way the horse sort of gets urged along late and sort of just fades and drops out a bit here.
Yeah, I didn't mind the trials. This is the first trial where it had a hunt on it, so Yeah, I think it's looked nice to my eye in both trials when it's been asked. I just like the map of this horse. If we don't get as much rain as is predicted and it's in the kind of 5 to 6 range with the inside holding up, I think it's a great each way bet because it'll just drop straight into the box seat and get every hope in the world. But it's tough now to bet early when we don't know how the track's playing. So at the moment, I've got it clearly on top. Haven't had a bet yet just because how good at maps. It was very good first and second up last campaign. And then went on to race pretty decent in some listed races in Melbourne and Sydney. So it's the horse for me at the moment, but we'll wait and see how the track plays.
It's definitely a short course horse, Sue Baby. I think trying to stretch it to 14 was against it late in its sort of prep last time. But I'm a bit with you. Inside draw. The trials are all right, but Seascape's the one that's got the right setup to be fit and ready to go, and the draw roll forward. And then I just think that these two horses are huge wild. Like Hellafast, I think, is completely untapped. I don't know how good this horse is. They've done everything basically go wrong its whole life and still put up some good performances. And I think Cosmic Fire is dead set a very, very, very good horse. So it'll be interesting. Obviously things will change, but I think that those are the Seascape will be up on speed, and then I'd probably be choosing between the two, Cosmic Fire, Hellafast. Benzu's interesting. Been absolutely butchered both starts as well. 1,000 to 1,200, back to 1,000. It's got ability also.
Got the Boomtown boss form. Donny?
It's just with the fit Sydney horses, they wouldn't have missed any work, and have good weather. With some of these Queenslanders that are first up, they wouldn't have seen a grass gallop for months now. So that's the only slight knock against Hellafast and Cosmic Fire. Probably the fitness coming into this race first up, especially on a wet track.
Yeah, I remember backing this horse, Hellafast, in the Gimme Space race in the Group 3 after a huge performance against Super Ally on the Heavy 10. And I think he just sort of, I don't know whether it was greenness or again, it's sort of like High Barbie. A jury's sort of out with me with Hellafast, whether it actually likes it or whether it's a different horse on a dry track. But it's got a ton of ability, I agree, Walt. It's just got to put it all together. But yeah, I had a tiny little note in my black book that Hellafast might be a dry tracker, but I was instantly drawn to the top two.
It's got a rider too, which is attractive, whereas Benzu cops the same rider again. It's weird. The win first up was great when it was just exposed the whole way and kept coming. Then last time, it's a shocker. So it's a competitive race.
Queensland's a little bit like Sydney in that regard. It doesn't matter how you ride him, you get the ride again, which is mind blowing.
It's weird. Like that one, like she probably would have been riding Hellafast if she wasn't riding the other one. So it's interesting.
All right, hopefully we made things clear for you there. Race 7 is the next one. It's the listed Princess Stakes over 1,600 metres. I've nearly lost Walt here, but Harlem Queen is $2.80, Meridana $5, Philia $7, Heat Missile $9.50, Panito $9.50, and then got Pleasure Artist $11 from Barry 19, Miss Bustlinger $19. A couple of replays to have a look at here. Harlem Queen's the first one. Taylor Marshall was an interesting booking, but he's going to retain the ride up here in Queensland. You got Lek Varde just go like an absolute Learjet here on the wet, and sort of against the pattern, or it was pretty hard to make up ground. And Harlem Queen, I thought, went huge against the some of the older mares here, and you got Snow in May there. But here she's running into second in the light blue with the dark blue sleeves, and Lazuru is absolutely flying, and Curvalant back on the fence. So I think that form stacks up pretty well for a 1,600 metre race here. And this is the one that Donny likes. Pleasure Artist stuck in the black with the red cap, and Meridana's the whitest there with the blue and the white sleeves, and she sort of just hits the brick wall late. Walt?
Yeah, I kind of agree, except I'd probably say I thought Harlem Queen hit the brick wall late too, and that was the worry for it. But the difference being here was Meridiana was just given absolutely none, sprinted like a gazelle, and then did knock up, and I think she's shown that she's got a really strong sprint twice. Whether she can replicate that on a heavy track or not, we haven't seen. And I 100% agree with Donny. Pleasure Artist is ready to go now. The only thing is they've sent Randy up and it's got gate 27. But there's not a lot of speed in this race either. I think sort of Heat Missile, Philia, Miragical or something. The only 3 go forward horses. So maybe they could slot forward a bit more because it does have strong 2,000 metre form. And I'm concerned that deep diving into Harlem Queen, who's been a really good horse to me, even though... I don't know if she runs a mile. I know she's got stretched further, but she never they were slow tempo Phillies races where she didn't really finish off there either. So I'm a little bit concerned about her running a strong mile out on a heavy track, and I'll probably end up doing my backside if she wins here. But I thought Pleasure Artist was the clear value. Meridiana, very, very, very dangerous. And I thought Philia could run well also, go the winkers on, blinkers off, controlled the speed both runs. But I think it could be underrated because it's gone so slow in front. It's actually hurt its chances. I think if it rolled along a bit more, it probably would have beaten those horses up by further. I think it's got real upside, Philia. So, yeah, I'm taking on Harlem Queen.
I thought Philia was the big danger, still a little bit untapped and a bit underrated as well. Harlem Queen I've sort of got marked as 1,600, 2,000 plus, so any further than that, 2,400 metres, I'm happy to take her on, but I thought this is right in a sweet spot and she's up and rolling and she's fit. Donnie?
Yeah, I was kind of with Wild. I agree that Harlem Queen was a big run last start, but it was off the bit round the turn, and I'm just not sure where it's going to end up in the map, and you got to take 270 with Taylor Marshall on. So the 2 times it's met Pleasure Artist, it's beat it both times. There's only 0.3 of a length in the Randwick Guineas or a 2,000 metre Randwick race, and in the VRC Oaks only beat it by 0.3. So I just can't justify the price differential, $12 to 270. So the way I'm seeing it, I'd definitely be on Pleasure Artist each way. Hopefully we get a change of tactics, so hopefully Atkins can roll forward a touch early and be positioned in front. The map horse is definitely Philia because we got the 3 other favourites going to be out the back, Hull and Queen Meridia and Pleasure Artist. So that's the way I'd probably lean Pleasure Artist each way and possibly Philia if there's an on-pace advantage.
I reckon Meridiana will be straight up the leader's asses. So I reckon it'll be running 4th or 5th. And that's the only, but I agree completely.
All right.
Otherwise,
skinny quaddie leg. Maybe only have to have 4 in race 7. Let's have a look at race 8. It's a listed Brisbane mile. Port Lockroy is the favourite, $4.40. Miss Jolene, $4.40. Just Folk, $10. Rising Pacific, $10. Cronenberg, $10. Tenzing, $12. Alma Beer, $13. Williamsburg, $14. Caboche, $14. And then you get $20 or better the rest. Couple of replays we've got here. The first one is Miss Jolene. She's got blue with the white stars, and got horses like Kachak and then Safrado, who was pretty hard fitting up and rolling in the white. But thought this is a massive win. Interesting to hear what you have to say, Donnie. But only sort of really gets clear and straightens up the last 150, and I thought she won with plenty in hand. What do you think? Yeah,
terrific win. It was a great ride actually from CJ, which is going to be rare to get 2 in a row from her, but she just sliced through the pack, got out late and got to the best part of the track and was very strong late. And she was well back that day, so she can definitely go on with it. Doesn't have a great strike rate and has never won at Eagle Farm. That's the only small knocks.
10-day back up, second up at a mile too, not easy.
I heard GK's telling me that the Schweider wants this horse to go to a Q22. Which
no doubt, but it's just hard to do it off that. Like, I've no doubt that it runs the trip and whatever. It's just the setup of it and draw, and she's probably going to give him a start. Like, that was a great ride. Everything sort of did go well, but she's a very good horse. Like, if she was third up, and
she looks like a real light filly to me in the yard. By the end of the preparation, the Q22, I don't know if there's will be much horse left of her. I was sort of happy to play for the first couple of starts, and then maybe third or fourth up in the prep. I'd be risking, but the danger or the big favourite in the market is a query for mine. That's Port Lockroy, and the reason I say this, you have a look at this Doncaster, and it looks like it's a big run, and it's a decent run. He whacks away into 9th here. He's only got another wheel to his outside here. He's in the yellow with the white, and you think he's going to go straight past him and around, but just keeps whacking away. The other horse who got in the chestnutty type colour in the mailbag colours going backwards is Just Folk, who had to do it on the back up from the heavy track. But Port Lockroy is a different commodity on a good track, and I just don't think he goes as good on a heavy deck.
I own 80% of the horse, I think. So I own about 80% of him.
And we are Port Lockroy fan club.
That was his dream, a slow run, messy run where he got the suck up behind him. That was his absolute dream, whereas Just Folk was the opposite. Maybe he was a bit flat, but it was a terrible ride too. Just went way too slow. So, yeah, I wouldn't be using that as your point of reference if it was me as a lead-in.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So I'm happy to take on Port Lockroy at the $4.40 here. I want to back Miss Jolene, and Noel Callow's the perfect rider for Just Folk. So the wetter it gets, I'm not as worried. If he rides it correctly, I think it can win at sort of $10. I know GK is kicking up for Rising Pacific at $10, but this could be a bridge too far. Donnie?
Yeah, not a race that I really love, but I think Just Folks, the value at $10, $12 is going to get full control, and Noah will try and skip clear on the bend. It's one at the track, loves a wet track, so it's the one in run that you want to be in, and I'll probably have something small each way, especially if they're leading and it's on the wet track.
Yeah, I agree. Clear value, Just Folk should lead control. The Stalkers aren't really too dangerous to Williamsburg. Second up's a Bark. Mississippi Prince should be able to fight them off, and clear horse to beat. I had a good look at Rising Pacific, but it looks like a bone tracker or a bone dry tracker to me. I couldn't have it. Miss Jolene's very dangerous, and I thought Tenzing down the bottom was the other value in the race. I think you'll get a bit better price too. Yeah, so it's got an inside draw, get a soft, and it just loves the wet. So Tenzing, Just Folk for me, and I'm with you taking on Port Lockerbie a bit.
Al-Mubi, staying with Annabelle.
I watched
from
the
Haggis?
replay about 5 times because it's coming out of that messy race. It could improve. Probably. I don't know. I honestly don't know. I spent that long having a look at it. I couldn't gauge it. It just did nothing in the Doncaster to say that it's going to do something here. But if hits a wet track and improves, I wouldn't be surprised. But yeah,
it's interesting one, isn't it? Haggis to Annabelle.
And you'll probably get a silly price. I think, is it actually, maybe it's the one, I think I didn't write any notes next to it because I think it had Equicast on there. So maybe that's why I penned it.
Yeah.
I think it maybe had Equicast going into that race. And that was when I watched the replay a few times, then looked at gear change and went, oh, okay. I didn't even write any notes. So maybe I don't like it at all. Kabosh is the other one. Sorry. If it's an absolute slogfest, it's coming back in trip and very fit and will keep slugging. So it's the other one.
Chips in for me, Miss Jolene and Just Folk. I'm just going to play those two heavily. Donnie, summary of your best for the day or anything out wide as well? What are you going to do? Have you got anything to leave us with?
No, I just put the Antonito in race 3 each way. I think it's a great bet if it gets in the race. That's probably the day summed up for me. And there's a fair bit happening. I think Tails is a good chance tomorrow. So that's what I'll be backing all day.
Tomorrow? What's that today? Thursday, Friday, tomorrow.
Friday.
Anzac Day, Tails.
Very important. Oh, Tails on the goddamn 2-up. Jesus Christ, even money.
Tails.
Oh, I am gone. Mate, I have to ask you, now that Top Sports left the building, have they still got the twist the bat and run down the stadium at the at the Titans games?
No, they haven't stumped it up for the merry-go-round around the pole. And that's
the only reason they get anyone to a game. They'd be getting 30 people to a game if they get rid of that.
You mustn't have seen what's happening out there. That's what they are getting.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah. Wow, that's a bit grim. Poor old Des. All right, Donnie, you can stay for one more race. We're going to go to Randwick race 4. It's a 1,000-metre race. That's why I'm going to keep you here. Zealousy's a favourite. P. Snowden, $1.85. Passagiata, $3.90. Miss Icelandic, $6. Smashing Time, $10. Extravagant Lad, $15. Azul Fakir at $20. Better the rest. Walt, Smashing Time, first up last time in the blue with the racing checks.
So this is Sunrise, who actually can run serious time. I think it nearly broke a track record there the other day, first up on fast ground. And this wasn't fast ground. They went out sort of 2 above, come home 5 above. So just gives a bit of more light to how good a run this was from Smashing Time. And I think it nearly killed it for the prep. I think exerting this much effort first up pretty much flattened it for the whole prep. So just wanted to show that replay to show what he's capable of fresh, and then sort of wanting to be forgiving of what he did from then on. No other replays, is there? So, yeah, he breaks one of my rules that he's a dirty back marker in a 1,000-metre race, but hoping a bit of that rain comes and they soften each other up. There is quite a bit of speed. Zealousy's, it was a good effort first up, but it's sort of a midweek horse, and there's decent pressure horses that want to be up there. Extravagant Lad, whoever knows what the hell they're going to do with Passagiata, like they ride it forward back. It's been trialling, showing speed. Iron Hat wants to be up there. There should be enough pressure, and then I'm just hoping this horse is back to his old self. 2 quiet trials where he's sort of been allowed to flop to the line a little bit. But, just sort of $8, $9 each day. And, oh, my God, gave me a migraine the rest of the meeting. So if we go down here, I think we nearly go to the pub for the rest of the afternoon because it's pretty tricky, or head to Adelaide. But, $8, $9 each way, I think it's a good bet fresh.
Data pigs all over Zealousy, but as you say, tons of speed in the race.
Yeah, it's what is it? It's $1.85 or something. That was what I was like, what the? And then I sort of went through it. He can win for sure, and it's definitely got upside, blah blah. But it's drawn an awkward gate, and Yeah, a little bit of rain, just hoping the big fella can rip down the outside. He had some very nice sort of 1,400 metre form. Looked like he's going to be one of the better 3-year-olds there at one point. So, any sort of class here with the sting out, I think he's going to run well.
Donnie, you're a 1,000-metre pig. You're a data pig as well.
Passagiata has cost me, this is going back 2 or 3 years. I used to launch at this thing at $1.80 and it cost me millions. So I'm happy to bet against it. Zealousy needs Canterbury, a tight turning track. So it leaves us with Smashing Time. That hasn't done too much in its trials, but was dominant first up. So I can see the angle there, but I haven't spent too much time in the race.
Christ, it's only 70 races, Donnie. Normally you'd knock them over in 2-3 hours. What are you doing?
Mate, he's been doing two-up form. He's
That's
declared
right.
tails
Yeah,
all day.
Declaring evens.
Tails never fails in New South
Declaring
Wales,
tails.
but you're in Queensland. All right. That's big thanks from us, Donnie, and good luck tomorrow.
Thank you, boys. Have a good one.
Thanks, bud.
See you, mate.
All right, it's time now to have a look at the couple of features at Morphettville, and it's nice and clear weather there, Morphettville. Nice big roomy track off the back of Oakbank last week. It's all happening over in Adelaide at the moment, and Nico Noonan joins us. How are you, Nico?
Good. I was surprised we got the call up with DK's recent Group 1 form, but here we are. So hopefully we can replicate the great man and find a few winners in the big ones over there in Adelaide.
Don't tell DK. You're not allowed to tell him you come on the show, mate.
Yeah, I appreciate you getting the late call up here, but I thought the Tassie angle with Cinch in the Oaks was enough to get you across the line. I wanted to see how loyal you were to the Tassie form, and I thought you were the best man to preview the Australasian Oaks. So that's part of my wicked and wild reasoning. But no, DK's still on the ice, but he's still well in favour. But yeah, that's all. I'll
Go out hot. We've already talked. You're best to put
fresh
your stallions in the paddock for at their top and bring them back.
He'll be back. DK will be back, mark my words. Before we get into the Oaks, let's have a look at one of Nico's best bets for the day. It's race 2 at Adelaide. It's the Breeders' Stakes over 1,200 metres. Legacy Bound's a favourite here, $2.50. Petite Artiste, $4. Steel Trap, $4.40. Abuchi, $10. And Legacy Bound here, Nico, was pretty impressive. Green with the white V in the Vinery colours.
Yeah, this was at Ballarat. The second horse, Maldini's coming up one since Appenham. This did seem like a pretty strong maiden leading in, and he went straight to the lead, came home with pretty good closing splits for the day and was way too good for his opposition. They do have him in the Anzac Day Stakes as well at Flemington, but he's been smashed in the betting here, so wouldn't be surprised if he ends up in Adelaide. And I think if he does go to Flemington, you could probably still back him there, but if he ends up in this race, he just looks a good thing to my eye. You got a lot of fillies in this race that are coming out of 1,000-metre form. They haven't really been exposed to 1,200, and they don't look like they're going to set the world on fire in their careers, whereas this is a horse who he's absolutely in a stable that's absolutely flying. Robbie Griffiths, his last 50 runners, his stats are through the roof. Mark Zara goes aboard, which I think is a huge positive. Growing Empire won this race last year with Zara aboard, and I think for the day, he's a big positive rider to really go looking for. And this horse, for what we saw on debut, if he probably doesn't have to lead here, there's a few horses that will be quicker than him early coming up from 1,000, but he found the line mile in a few of his jump outs, and he just seems like a pretty professional sort of racehorse. So I thought it, 260 when they went up. I think he's at about 230 now, but I really thought this horse could start odds on, and the way the market's trending, he probably will. So if you're keen to dive into one early in the card in Adelaide and hopefully get W money or something like that, I think that's what you'll be taking race time. He looks like a horse that's just better than his opposition. I couldn't really find a danger. There doesn't look a whole lot of strength to the fillies, and as I said, they're out of 1,000-metre races. He has the 1,200-metre form. So if he goes to Flemington, it'll be hard to beat. If he goes to Morphettville, I thought he was a moral.
3 key words there. Dive into one early Adelaide. I just lit up the feature of the pokey. Well, Nico's gone out of his way to put this one on the run sheet.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I can see why. Have a look at it.
Aren't they flying?
Both
The Old
ends.
Kirk 2-year-olds.
Aren't they?
Aren't they flying? And we can't get a sponsor for the show, but can we get a Vinery hat? They used to be my favourite going to the Stallion, the old Vinery Stallion. I used to rat hole that many of their hats. I wore them to golf for about 10 years, and I haven't been to them. So can someone send me a Vinery hat? I need some nostalgia. I can't add anything to the race apart from it looks like it's just going to monster them.
Was Vin Cox ever an employee of Vinery?
Don't know. I think, is that the new head of Racing New South Wales, Vin Cox, you're speaking of, or is that? Oh, sorry, no, not yet.
Tell you what, he's gone up in my estimations of Vin Cox. He's been around a few joints, but tell you what, he's just gone like this lately.
He's got a set of nuggets on him, hasn't he?
Good to see.
It's a very different thing to go and give a confidential statement and then to confirm it publicly against the big crew is difficult. So, win, lose or draw, hats off.
Is he in your bunker? Is he in your safe house?
Mate, he wasn't, but he's welcome.
All right, let's get the show back on the road. Let's have a look at the Group 1 Australasian Oaks. I keep saying it wrong. Benadryl's a favourite here, $3.90. $2 Lizzie, $4.40. Polymnia, $4.60. Moving out, $5. Cinch, $8.50. All Cones of Folk, $19. Phenom, $26. And Comanche Miss on that same quote. Also, Benadryl here in the red. Has a pretty good finish here, and then as a key reference, you got Moving Out in the Yulon colours with the black cap and the black brow band, but it was all Treasure of the Moment here. But I thought Benadryl Nico stuck to guns all right.
Yeah, this is this seems the strongest form you can bring in, chasing Treasure of the Moment, which she's done a couple of times this campaign. I don't think the line with Moving Out's any guide off this one. They started pretty much the same price. I think that's probably more the guide than sort of assessing her of this. She's been to Mornington and won since in the Guineas. So back to Benadryl, I've been a big fan of her for a while now. I remember seeing her in the yard throughout the spring and just always thought that 2,000 metres was going to be really suitable for her. Backed her a few times, backed her over a cup week when she should have won. You probably had a case she should have nearly won the 1,000 Guineas if you wanted to run straight. I feel like they've ironed out that pattern with her this campaign of laying in. Maybe it's because the riders they've been putting on. And I think Zara going on board is a big positive for this filly. We saw him this day last year. He won the Australasian Oaks and the Breeders' Stakes, actually. So we're looking for him to go back-to-back this year, but he's a strong rider with a whip in the left hand, and he's probably one of our best jockeys in Australia. So when he goes aboard horses, the stats are unreal. When he goes on for the first ride, they usually I think they go about 35% from off the top of my head from memory. So big positive rider change. And just I think he's really going to suit her. From 13, she probably just lobs in probably the running line. There does seem a fair bit of speed in this race with Two Done Lizzie, Phenom, the Aurora Stakes, which was the key Adelaide lead up. That was fast run. But Two Done Lizzie sort of added into that speed battle. You'd think they'd roll along a bit. And I reckon that really suits Benadryl. He's had the run at 2,000, chase Treasure of the Moment. And I think they've just really found the best for this campaign by, getting rid of that trait that she had laying in. So I think she's the best horse in the race. She brings in the best form. The stable's airborne. And the jockey's a big positive. Moving Out, I don't know if there's a whole heap between them ability-wise. She went to Mornington and absolutely bolted in on last Saturday. Quick backup, but she did really defy the pattern of the day there. It was a big day to be probably just on speed. She was the only winner that really looped the field and was charging home late. So she showed her class there. There's no doubt her at her best is in play. But I thought she had a few map issues from barrier number 1. There's a bit of dead wood in this race, and I think when you're looking for gaps, you're going to really need a good ride from Ben Mallon to find those gaps. And I just couldn't really get around Two Done Lizzie. She's sort of been to every big race down in Melbourne in terms of 3-year-old fillies. She's never really won one, and I think a horse like Benadryl probably has more talent. So she's got to go to 2,000 metres. She'll probably run it out, as the gay pot horses usually do. She's a tough on speed filly who'll be in the finish. I just couldn't really get around her as nearly favourite. The other key chance in the race is Cinch. I don't think the race backs much deeper than those 4. And here she is winning one of the SA lead-ups in the Aurora, which was a good win. She's, putting together a bit of a picket fence her last few runs. I just think the map's very sticky for her here. Drawn 15. You've got Bishan, Zara, Malum on the other 3 key chances, and no knocks on Celine, but she's not in their sort of category at the moment. She's got some good association with this horse, having ridden her last start, but I just thought the map was really against her. And looking at the ratings, I think Benadryl and even Moving Out probably have a bit of a class edge on her, especially Benadryl bringing in that hot binary rating. So I was a little bit around Cinch. She's been my girl so far, but these Saturdays are going to be a big task for her. I thought if she was going to be a genuine, winning chance, she'd probably have to draw a better barrier. So I think Benadryl gets a lot in her favour. They're hopefully getting down the middle on Saturday, which I have been across the last few meetings at Morphettville, and does have a lot in her favour to really just replicate that binary run. So happy to bet up there. I think she's going to run a huge race. One at a price, you're looking outside of them. I thought Bullfest was maybe the best roughie. J Mott goes aboard, was 2,000 back to 1,600 last start at Sandown, and sort of found the line okay. I think if you're looking at one to put in your exotics, so 50 to 1, it's probably her or Feminile. But I'm pretty keen Benadryl. I think it's her race.
Gee, I love the way Cinch was just on empty for the last 150, and if nothing else, she's got a lot of heart and she's tough.
That's why that race to me looked like you'd scrap it. 'Cause
Exactly.
It was gone.
Everything
at the 600
behind it,
and, yeah.
pen.
Yeah, I kind of agree. I thought the opposite. I thought Shin will try and control this.
Ooh.
I thought Shin would try and lead and go too slow. Well, not too slow. I think he'll try and go as slow as absolutely possible on Two Darn Lizzie. He loves to do it, and that would hurt Benadryl and sort of bring moving out. And even Polymnia, I actually just checked the price. I didn't realise Polymnia was so short. It does seem short. If it's $8 or $9, I'd be happy to back moving out Polymnia, and for them to be as close as to Benadryl in the pricing as they are is the little bit tricky thing. But I think moving out on top of the ground, first up went like a rocket, third up went like a rocket. Both times it's seen dry tracks, and then if you just totally forget that second up run, old Benadryl looked like it was going to win there, and it just had the suck. They went 100 mile an hour. Obviously there's no timeless moment in this race or whatever it's called. I just think the horse with the turn of foot I'm going to be with here, moving out and Polymnia.
I'd probably side Polymnia and Benadryl, but I think a good starting point is to take on Two Darn Lizzie and
I don't exactly slow or fast. I think it's up against it.
Yeah.
I agree with you there. And Cinch, if it's alive off that run, too good.
I think it will be alive. 70 days is absolutely huge. Cinch has just got that X factor and just tries her guts out and got a bit of a turn of foot. They were the three that I wanted to work around: Benadryl, Cinch, and Polymnia. But I think it's pretty easy to come up with Benadryl. But I'll have to take a second look because you've thrown a little bit of element of doubt into it, and I could sort of see Shin going slow, but I could sort of. What do you think of that, Nico? In the tactics, Two Darn Lizzie and Cinch, are they going to run along, or you reckon they'll go slow?
Well, I think it depends what Phenom does. Like, Phenom went forward last start, set a pretty fast tempo, and she's drawn 7, Two Darn Lizzie drawn 10. If Mill's happy to hand up to Shin, and that they're from the same stable, then it could be a different scenario. If they just happy to let Phenom lead and Two Darn Lizzie just sort of take a more cushy run, well, it's a bit different. But, I think there'll be a few horses here looking to get forward. There's just a few, like out of that Roy race, there's a few there that are going to be really hard pressed to turn tables on Cinch, and I think she's probably in that brigade that's going to need to improve again to be, matching Benadryl. So there's a few of them that are a long way off potentially the best fillies in this race, and their best chance might be to go fast and try to expose them. I'd sort of lean it is faster run, but I think because of Phenom drawing inside a Two Darn Lizzie, that's maybe why. I can't see Phenom handing up and taking the box seat. I think she'll have to push forward and lead.
The only thing with that stable, they usually let the senior rider do the dictating. Whereas I get it, Milne's on inside draw. Maybe I think it's a faster horse than it's probably not if they want to push the button Two Darn Lizzie. But I reckon Shin will be desperate to dictate. Anyway, good race.
Yeah,
it's a fascinating race.
Even fourth up, I do like Benadryl fourth up, getting onto a drier track as well.
And that was the other thing with her. It feels like she hasn't really had a grand final yet. Like, I think they've set her for this race. Won so well in the Boba Skinnies. Like, they could have sent her to Sydney a lot earlier than what they did. I think she's got a real sense of timing. Probably set to peak here fourth up. And
they could have gone to the Oaks, because I remember talking to Timmy after it, and they asked him if he wanted to come here. So they were never going to the Oaks. This was their race. So that is a really good point.
Yeah, I'll be very surprised if Benadryl gets beat.
Benadryl. You're just a big Benadryl man, because you've got all these potions everywhere, mushrooms, things and whatever. You're just a big
peptides,
Benadryl man.
collagen, Manuka honey.
Benadryl, wash it down.
Anything for an edge.
Next.
Dear. All right, let's have a look at race 8. It's the Robert Sangster. It is a Group 1. It's a 1,200 metre race. It's for the fillies, and this is an appetising contest when you've got a horse like Asphora who needs me or Walt to just jump out there for the last 50 and carry it across the line over 1,200. Climbing Star is the favourite here, but it's not by much, $6. Asphora 7 on the same line as Stretton Angel, Commemorative, Charm Stones here fresh, $8.50, A Little Deep, $11. She's got Pizzazz, 11, Aviatrice, 14, Amenia is $17, Estrella, $19, See You in Heaven, 20, Roll on High, 26, Prairie Flower, 26, Osmar, 26, and then you got Dakota Lee. So quality little field here. First replay we're going to have a look at here is Stretton Angel, and running on the cow paddock here with Jimmy Starr in the race, Nico.
Yeah, well, she's in similar ground to him. In front of him's Benedetta. She's run well since. Back to the inside's Reserve Bank, who come out and won, and Ray Magnerio, maybe wasn't his best in the Discovery at Echuca, but he was still flying home late. So the form stacked up out of the race. She just didn't handle the conditions at all. You look back through her best form, while, she ran some great races down the straight in the spring, third in the Newmarket. Jolly Star was in a bit of a race of her own there, but Headball in second definitely backed up the form. And I feel like this race, given the step weight's nature, I think the classier mares who have been performed in, the proper Group 1s, which she has, Stretton Angel, are well suited and only getting 56.5 and not having to give a lot of weight to the fillies. It doesn't really seem like a deadly filly down the bottom of the weights to my eye. So I think those, her, Asfur and Climbing Star are very well suited under the conditions. And I think Stretton Angel, she runs to her best, where she's third in the, I think she ran third in the Champion Sprint, third in the Newmarket. There's a whole lot of form there that suggests she has the real A-grade sort of form lines. Climbing Star won this race last year and had a lot in her favour. She may get it again. She gets a good map from 7. They are the two I really wanted to work around. This was an interesting lead. I was very solid run. Sharippo, who I couldn't keep up in her, I think like 2 years ago, ended up leading as for her. I think they went around 15 or 16 lengths below for the 600 metre mark. Aviatrix started near favourite in the race, or did start favourite. She was the least suited, coming back 12 to 11. Prairie Flower flies late, and then Climbing Star just looked like a nice clean out for her. I think the way the race worked out, it couldn't have worked out any better for I saw her there at 1,100 metres. I'm sort of putting the line through her at 1,200. She is the class horse of the race and probably the best horse at her absolute best, but I just don't see that being at 1,200 metres these days. So I was sort of happy to put a line through her. I think she's taken up a bit too much percentage. Climbing Star, I can definitely see why she's favourite. I think Stretton Angel at her best is a better horse. And then outside of them, you could make a fair case Commemorative. If she's at her best here, she started, really solid in the market in that Galaxy, had no luck. Onto a big track's a positive. The barrier's probably a positive for her, given she'll be out in clear air. It just feels like a bit of afterthought, end of prep sort of run. She's been up a long time now, and she probably did have every chance last start to win, and Infancy ran her down. So that was my knock there. So yeah, I was really with the Stokes too. I think Stretton Angel's probably the best horse, and Climbing Star may have the better setup just with the map. But at around $7-8, I think we're going to go on the day. I think Stretton Angel was an easy bet.
You think they might have missed a boat with Infancy not putting it in this race, to be fair. It's a Group 3, isn't it? Like, it's not a Group 1. So, pretty bad field. Climbing Star, I think, has to really fall over to get beat. It just was the best run first up, clearly, and 1,200 metres is just a bridge too far for a lot of them. If it doesn't win, then it's quite open. Like, yeah, Commemorative's dangerous. 15's, he's going to, you're lucky, like Shin's a bit hot and cold at the moment, isn't he? If he pulls off the right sort of thing, if he somehow landed on the back of Climbing Star or something, she's dangerous. Charmstone's a bit of a query horse. Little Deep was good the other day. Roll High, 11 to 14, back to 12. Gate 1's dangerous, could just pinch runs and do something. Amina's first up, it went like a bomb first up, jumped out all right. It's very open, I'd say, if Climbing Star doesn't win, and I'm a little bit the same, steering away from Asfura and those horses. But I think sort of $6 Climbing Star looks a great bet.
I can't believe it's not short of Climbing Star. The Manicato was huge behind Southport Tycoon when it was held up. It was disappointing, and behind Overpass in the Sydney Stakes, and that was the only reason why it didn't go any good there. Is it was a soft 5, and she's a different horse on any give in the track. She's no good. And then she was super in the Sir Rupert Clark behind Komochi. So she's got just so much back-end strength here, and that was back onto a good 4. That was an impossible setup for her last start with that first up run. And I've heard Stokes say that early in her prep she had a tiny setback. Lockie Nindolf's had the choice between Stretton Angel and Climbing Star. He's jumped on Climbing Star, and I think she's one of the bets of the weekend. I think she's nearly...
She gets that perfect storm of she's got the class edge over the up-and-comers, and she gets the other class horses are struggling at the distance, which is her strength.
Yeah.
So I think that's the old double whammy, and that's, I was a bit the same. You messaged me 24 hours ago and said...
Want to launch.
Triple Star, and I said, yeah, you're cracking jokes, you're a moron. And now I've come back around to your way, but I will never admit it publicly.
Yeah,
Porco, can you edit that out, please?
Launching. Very high confidence, sort of getting Jimmy Star, female version of Jimmy Star vibes So Climbing Star will be a really big bet. Nico, Moonee Valley, they're still racing down in Victoria. They've got the Bull coming up soon. I see all over the sphere. But will you be there on deck for the yard, Moonee Valley?
Actually, a rare Saturday off for me. Everyone do Flemington tomorrow instead. So heading out to Anzac Day of Flemington, which is always a good day there. They have the two up there, so might have to get involved. If we can't find a winner, that might be a get out stakes, the two up on the lawn. But off to HQ tomorrow. And then, the Bull. I'm not sure if I'm heading down yet. I think we might have one runner in the jumps race in one of the main hurdles, but he's very slow. You probably need the field to fall over in front of him to win, but he'll whack away for a place, probably Whiskey Jack. But we're pretty quiet outside of that. So not sure if I'll head down this year, but keen to get stuck in the form. I think the field's come out tomorrow, actually, for the Bull for Monday. So, big weekend ahead of getting stuck into the form for that, because that is a marathon.
Tell you what, just no flies on Nico at all. He knows the cow paddock at Moonee Valley is not worth going to, so he's going to work Friday and take the weekend away for the missus.
2 questions there. Kanga, is he allowed to Flemington for the day just to run the 2 up? Surely that'd increase turnover. And was it Flying Mickey? Geez, it went good the other day up the inside. Probably should have been in the finish if old mate didn't get lost on it 15 times during the run.
Oh,
he's back in action.
He's a frustrating horse, Flying Mickey. There's all the ability there, but he's got a few quirks. And my little sister struck him hope, and he ended up fighting her after the race. So he was feeling good. That was for sure on Sunday. He was feeling good. We might have missed our chance, but I think we'll go to Caulfield in a couple of weeks, and 1,400, hopefully we can get a result.
Yeah, good horse.
Outstanding. Doing a good job with him. All right, that's a big wrap from us. Make sure you take a really, really good look at the track conditions and the weather forecast, especially at Eagle Farm, and a little bit of a look at Randwick as well, because that 15 mil could be anything on race day, and especially it happens during the races. Adelaide will be a happy hunting ground because it'll be dry and Bull on the radar, so we might post up some Bull sets or some Bull tips. That'd be something for us to kick around, or I'll be looking at it early next week.
Still 3 days, is it?
Yeah, 3 days. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So it'll be a tough campaign, and good luck anyone that's getting on the pen and ink down there, because it is brutality at its best. But big thanks to Punting Form and Racing Queensland. It's going to be a massive winter carnival, and hopefully we have a great day on the punt on Saturday. And good luck to everyone betting over the next week, and we'll see you next week.